Eskom has warned South Africa that rolling blackouts are not going away anytime soon. Yesterday, it said that protracted load shedding would take place for 6 to 12 months as major repairs and capital investment projects would reduce an already constrained generation capacity. Eskom said it had run out of cash to pay for diesel to run gas turbines to keep the lights on. On this, we now talk to the Stellenbosch University Centre for Renewable Sustainable Energy Studies Director, Professor Sampson Mamphweli. Professor, great to have you with us as always. The problem is now we seem to be accepting load shedding as a way of life. I mean, the COO of Eskom had actually suggested at one point that we just keep stage 2 going, so at least there's some predictability. And there was huge pushback to that. But do you agree with me that it seems like basically that is happening?
Good evening to you and the viewers. Yes, it is happening, and some of us expected this to happen. You will recall that there are measures that have been put in place to try and deal with load shedding. And those measures are contained in the president's plan. And one of the measures is basically to ramp up maintenance of the coal fleet that is giving us problems at the moment. And ramping up that maintenance then takes away more megawatts or more electricity from the system. And if you count that plus the breakdowns that happens that are not planned, then it increases the risk of load shedding. And we've been saying that for the next 12 to 18 months, while this plan is kicking in, people should expect load shedding. The one thing that some of us did not foresee was the fact that Eskom will then run out of cash because they're burning a lot of diesel. They've spent more than 11 billion rand on diesel at the moment, and if you look at their balance sheet. The last time they made profit, it was in the region of 8 billion. They're already way above what they can bring in terms of revenue. Currently, the tariffs are not cost reflective, so Eskom is generating electricity at a loss. They've been relying more on government bailouts. And one thing that is also not helping is the fact that municipalities are also owing Eskom in the region of 50 billion rands. So if that money comes back to Eskom, then they will be able to do something in terms of trying to deal with some of the problems that they face. And those municipalities, some of them, they lose the electricity that they buy from Eskom to illegal connections, so they are unable to collect the revenue in that case. But some of them collect the revenue and just redirect it to other things within municipalities.
How should we feel as South Africans in the dark? Should we take heart that at least what's being done in terms of the repairs that you've laid out, it's for the future? So it's no longer reckless kind of keeping the lights on at all costs, but we are trying to fix things. How should we feel?
Yes, I would say if one reads the president's plan and looks at what is currently happening, one can say that this is exactly what should happen. We need to take a little bit of a beating. Unfortunately, that needs to happen. If Eskom does not do what they're doing now in terms of ramping up maintenance of the existing fleet, we're going to be in a much dire situation than the current situation. Yes, we expect that the situation will worsen in the next 3 to 6 months. When this program fully kicks in, but it's basically for the good. In the future, when load shedding disappears, it's going to disappear for good once all the other interventions come into play. Yeah. Because the maintenance is not the only intervention. There's quite a lot of other interventions that will come in within the next 6 to 12 months. And in the next 18 to 24 months, we should basically say goodbye to load shedding. So it's a necessity that they need to do. One of the biggest problems that we have is sabotage. I just read an Eskom statement where they mentioned that one of the contractors' employee was arrested for sabotage at Camden power station, and that those kind of people are working with some people who are internal at Eskom. Eskom has got very good employees and very good engineers, but there are a few rotten apples that need to be kicked out as quickly as possible.
Okay, but Professor, are you sure that in 18 to 24 months we'll see the end of load shedding? Because that is contingent on renewable energy, generating capacity being built now so that it can come online at a future date within the next 2 years. This is so big that you'd think there'd be some sort of what tracker. You know, are we able to gauge the measures to cut some of the red tape? Is it working? Do we need more information to understand how much movement there is right now?
Yeah, so there is a need for government to provide information, and I've said this before, because there's quite a lot that the public does not know that is happening in the background in terms of from the time that the president announced his plan to date. There's quite a lot. Like I said, there's quite a number of other interventions. When we talk about 18 to 24 months, we're looking at all the interventions in their totality. So we've got some of the electricity that will come live in the next 18 months from some of the public procurement process that the Minister Mantashe has been going through. We've got some of the megawatts that will come from the risk mitigation procurement that the minister has done. We've got the IPPs themselves. After the government removed the cap in terms of the maximum generation capacity that they can have, they've registered up to 1,400 megawatts of new generation capacity that will be coming from all sorts of sources. And all those efforts, including the things such as your demand side management, aspects such as your small scale embedded generation, where people with solar PV will be allowed to sell to the grid, and those, because they are distributed kind of generation facilities, they can be built within a very short space of time. So that's why when you look at the entire plan of the president and you look at the timeline, one can confidently say that within the next 18 to 24 months we should have enough electricity in South Africa, and even more.
All right. Thank you very much. As always, from Stellenbosch University, the Centre for Renewable Sustainable Energy Studies Director, Professor Sampson Mamphweli.